Hello, 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 everyone. How are you beautiful people doing today? I'm going to give everyone some time to get the notifications and get on. And for those of you listening on the replay, happy Friday. Fun, fulfilling Friday. Thank you all so much for logging on today. How are you all doing? This is Adelai Brown with Be Blessed Daily, and I am excited to be on today. Today is Friday. It is Fulfilling Friday, and I want to know, what have you been eating? You are what you eat. What do you have an appetite for today? Hey, Yolanda, thank you so much for coming on. I am expecting great things today. I told myself that I was getting prepared for whatever God had for me today. I would be ready. So as I'm waiting and, preparing for my blessing, I wanted to get on and do our daily anchor today. We're going to feature day 134 of Anchored because this is the 134th day of the year. How are you doing today, Yolanda? Is this Friday treating you well? I hope that it is. I hope that you're enjoying your day at work. And that is awesome, 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 awesome. Well, today I was just sitting here thinking, and I was reading through Anchored, and I was just thinking about my readings this morning. And this morning I was reading Exodus chapter 14, and it was talking about, when Moses was leading the children of Egypt into the promised land. And I'm just jumping into things. Just to introduce myself for those of you who be listening on the replay, I am Adelai Brown, and I inspire and empower women to break through the glass ceilings in their lives and soar in their greatness. I founded a company called Be Blessed Daily, where we work on are you talking to me, Yolanda? Where we work on the whole person. We want to work on you mentally, spiritually, emotionally, because we want you to overcome any of the hidden hurts and insecurities that are holding you back from truly living in the anchoring light of your purpose and prosperity. So I want you to get anchored with me and Be Blessed Daily. You can click the link in my profile and join my Facebook group. And also you can check out my website and just stay connected with me on Periscope. You can share with your followers. And don't forget, if you like anything that I'm saying, you appreciate anything that I'm saying, please go ahead and heart it up, tap your screen for me, just so that I know that you're feeling what I'm saying and I can share more about those things. So today I was talking about, what are you eating? Like, what do you have an appetite for? Really, what is going on in your life right now? And I want to, what I was saying about how I was reading. I'm doing awesome, Yolanda. Thank you so much. I was very blessed by the reading this morning. And then when I read Anchored for today, it just really kind of solidified to me and just reiterated the fact of the importance of the idea that we are what we eat. And that's not just a physical thing, that's a mental and a spiritual thing. A lot of times we put a lot of emphasis on the physical body. Make sure you drink enough water and eat enough fresh and raw fruits and vegetables. Don't eat too many processed foods or too many sweets. But what about your spirit? What about your soul? Like, what are you doing? Like, are you engaging in too many gossipy conversations? Do you find yourself in a lot of pitiful situations? Like, are you constantly surrounded with people? Wonderful, wonderful. And I hope you're enjoying your day at work. And share with all of your coworkers too. Tell them to get on Periscope and start following me in the daytime so they can get their daily anchor while they're at that hospital taking care of our veterans. I thank you so much. But a lot of times we don't focus on the spiritual and emotional and mental food that we eat that has just as much of an effect on our physical body as it does to our spiritual and emotional well-being. So when we talk about what are you eating, I want to know, like, what do you do in your spare time? What are you watching on TV? Are you watching things that empower you? Or are you watching things that feed into your soul? Are you watching things that encourage lust and envy and murder and death and backbiting and competition? Or are you watching things that are encouraging you, empowering you, enlightening you? And not just on TV, what are you listening to on the radio? What type of cliques do you hang with at work? Like, what are your friends talking about? What are the normal conversations that the people around you are having? A lot of times we think that, oh, they talk about those things, but I just listen. Okay. You're soaking it all in. You're eating. You don't have to be serving the food. You can be eating the food, and it's just as bad. So when I ask the question, what are you eating? This is a fulfilling Friday. I want you to get full off of inspiration. I want you to get full of motivation. I want you to get full of empowerment. I want you to get full off of the idea of how wonderful your purpose is. And I want you to share that. I want you to digest it so that you can use that and allow it to empower your life. When you look at your life through a lens of inspiration and empowerment, it doesn't matter what you're up against. You can overcome anything. But if you just finish watching, nothing but TV shows about murder and backbiting and stealing and people just getting a bad break, I do understand that happens in life. But a lot of times we draw things into our lives by what we're around, what emotion we're attaching, what feelings we're attaching to the emotions in our lives. So just like how a magnet attracts things of a like kind, so do you. And I want you to think about that as you go through your day. When you think about your life, is your life where you would like for it to be? Are your relationships the way you would like for them to be? Then my question to you is, if you don't like what you're receiving, what you're eating, then take a look at what you're serving. Like, what are you dishing out? Like, what type of meals are you serving to others around you? And when I say meals, I'm talking about mentally, spiritually. What kind of conversations are you having? What type of, typically I'm encouraging. Awesome. And that's good. So when being that you're typically encouraging, do you find that you reap the benefits of that encouragement? Or do you feel like you're being encouraging and it's like, worthless? Like, why am I doing this? And another thing too, if you're typically encouraging, I would even stand to say that because you're encouraging, God will allow you to be in situations where people can encourage you and people can empower you. Okay, good. So do you, and when you think about that, and I see that you said mostly and typically, because we all have our moments and we have our days and things are going on and, they're just not working the way that we would like for them to work. But if you took a inventory of your life, would you say that you're serving and dishing out the things that you want to take in, the things that you want to, the meals that you want to partake in? And that's not just for you, Yolanda, that's for everyone that's listening on the replay as well. I want you to think about that. And I'm going to give you an example from my own life. I'm not going to be on this Periscope long because I actually have some calls. I have some discovery calls. I'm in the process of relaunching some of my coaching programs with my business with Be Blessed Daily, and I'm really excited about that. So I have some calls this afternoon with some ladies doing my research because I want to make sure that I offer the best possible products and services to my clients and to my ladies that are following me, because I know that our hearts need to breathe. And that's why I do heart scopes, because I love doing heart talk, because I love when we get a heart check. And when we're talking about what are you eating, the anchor for today is talking about what are you hungry for. I would say yes, there's always room for improvement. Yes, there's always room for improvement. And sometimes we get so caught up on that we miss how much we have already improved. And then sometimes we make light of it and we don't realize that we could push ourselves a little more. And I think what we have to be, this is why the steps in the process is so important, because we have to know where we are with God individually. Because I could be, someone where God is trying to get, hello, how are you? Thanks so much for coming in today. Exquisin, did I get it right? Exquisin, because I know you were trying to figure out my name earlier today, and it's Adelai. You did get it right at the end. This is Adelai, and I thank you so much for listening in. But what I was saying about the food is that sometimes we have to be very sensitive to God as to where we are in our lives. Like we have to, you may be in a place where, God is telling you, okay, don't be so hard on yourself. Take your time. I know you need to get better, but let's pace ourselves. But then you may also be someone that's in a situation where God is telling you, look, enough is enough. It's time for you to put the pedal to the metal. Stop making excuses. You need to get out there and do what it is that I have called you to do. So when we talk about what are you eating? What are you eating? Like, what are you eating? Like, are you listening to that small, still voice in your heart? Or do you go to, the gossip station every day to get your advice, your relationship advice? Or, are you reading your Bible for direction? You know what I'm saying? Or are you going to the horoscopes and looking for, what should I be doing for today? We're talking about what you're eating, because again, a lot of times people get caught up in the physical food that they eat. They'll say things like, I eat well. I don't eat a lot of processed food. I drink a lot of water. But all you watch is junk on TV. The people that you hang around don't do things that are worthy of even talking about. You're surrounded with people that are below your level. You're eating junk food, and you will start to see that in your life. You start to see that in your relationships. You start to see that in your finances. You start to see that in your health, even though you're physically eating good food. So I ask you, what are you eating? Be mindful of that. Be mindful of the environments that you find yourself in, so that you don't get surrounded, and so that you're not contaminated, or that you don't spoil. Because food can spoil if it's left out, if it's not prepared properly, if it's not preserved properly, it can spoil. And you don't want to spoil. You don't want to miss out on what God has for you in life because you decided that you don't want to align your diet with the will of God. So a lot of times we focus on the physical body. We want to work out, we want to eat right. But what about the spiritual? What about the emotional? What about the mental? I know, excuse me, you were talking about, the mental health. And it's so true, because the Bible tells us, as a man thinketh, so is he. And that's something that we have to keep in mind as we go through life. And when we talk about food, for me, I went through a season over the past 2 years of my life. I really stopped watching TV. And I will be honest with you, my cable got cut off. That was one of the bills that, when things were getting tight, it was like, look, this TV is not that serious. I'm not going to be stressing myself about trying to keep cable on. Now, that's a whole nother thing with the mindset I was in and where I was at that time in my life. But I'm just talking about the food. So about 2 years ago, I said, you know what? We can let that go. I don't want that to be too distracting for the children. It can be a distraction for me. I also don't need that added stress on myself. So we'll let that go. So what I didn't realize, and because I had this, I have learned to lean on the word. Life will teach you some things. Yes. And see, the word of God is like the Bible is like a dietitian all on its own. The Bible will lead you to what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat, where you should be, where you shouldn't be, who you should interact with, who you shouldn't interact with. One time I was going through some things in my life, and I had just started reading my Bible. I'm talking, I was still out partying and living it up, living a crazy, wild life. But I started reading my Bible, and I was reading somewhere around Proverbs 27 and 28, and that particular passage told me everything I was going through right at that time in my life. And I knew it was God drawing me in. And I was like, wow. See, I was eating so much junk food. And when I got my hands on the real food, all I needed was a little bit to sustain me. And I realized, oh my goodness, I am not in the right environment. I am not eating the right food. So what I was saying, just to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, Yolanda, and back to what I was talking about 2 years ago, what I didn't realize is God allowed that TV to be cut off so that I can draw more to Him, so that I can grow more internally, so that I can be more spiritually astute and aware of what's going on in my life. And see, once that started, everything started to change. That's when I got closer. I got my book published. I founded my company. I started my coaching services, and I'm speaking, and I'm doing my mentoring program. And all of that came from cutting out the excess noise, the junk food in my life. Watching all those reality TV shows and the Criminal Minds and things like that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not judging you if that's what you want to watch. But here again, it's like junk food. What are these things doing for your spirit? What are they doing for your soul? It's like a guilty pleasure. It's like your ice cream could be your guilty pleasure, but you can't live off of ice cream. And sadly, that's what many people do. You can't live off of junk food, but that's what they do. And then when things get bad and things are rough, they want to run to God, and now they want to eat spiritual food. They want to eat the real meat and potatoes of the word, or get around people who are really, doing well in their lives, not just on the surface, but internally. And then they complain about how it tastes. You know, they're mad because, you know, you have to tell them something that might hurt their feelings because they've been around people who have condoned this foolishness for so long, junk food, you know, and when you finally get the real, authentic, organic, healthy food, it doesn't taste good because it's not as pleasing to your senses because you've allowed your senses to control your life and not your spirit. So what are you eating? Like, how are you fulfilling your life? Like, what are you doing in your life? So I want you to think about that. I'm going to read to you day 134 out of Anchored. And Anchored is my first self-published book. It's Anchored, Be Blessed Daily, Volume 1. I'm going to show you the cover of it, and I'm getting ready to read day 134. It's 367 daily anchors, motivation and inspiration to keep you anchored during the winds and waves of life. And these all, my whole company, everything was pretty much birthed from a text message, from me inspiring and encouraging others, just to kind of give you a backdrop of how I got here. And now I want to take my message. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. Thank you so much. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina, and I want to take the message worldwide. That's why I told you it wasn't a coincidence that I just randomly, of all the red spots on Periscope, I just happened to come onto your video, and I'm looking forward to us connecting as we move forward, because just from what I heard you saying, it just seems like we can, you know, brainstorm and really reach and connect with people, because that's what it's all about. There is no competition. That's how I feel. I can't be Exquisite, I can't be Yolanda, and neither of you can be me. But what I can do is work with you so that you can be the best Exquisite you can be, and you can be the best Yolanda you can be, and everyone on the replay. And I welcome the same with me, because we all coexist. Exactly. There's enough for everyone, and we all coexist. God created us to coexist. I mean, if you look at the world around you, any tree that you can look at in your yard or as you walk down the street, it's an ecosystem all in of itself. You know, all of those animals and things all come together up under the tree. The tree isn't just standing there just to be a tree. It's a shade, it's a home, it's protection. You know, it's a lot of things. So that's how we are. That's how God has intended for us to be. And I just want to encourage everyone so that they can know that. And I'm just giving you a little backdrop on, you know, who I am and what I'm all about. So I'm going to turn this around so you all can see Anchored. And it says day 134, and it says, the wise are hungry for the truth, while fools feed on the trash. Never live in denial. Surround yourself with positive people who will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. You roll the dice, but God determines how they fall. Be blessed. I'm going to read that one more time. The wise are hungry for the truth, while fools feed on the trash. Never live in denial. Surround yourself with positive people who will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. You roll the dice, but God determines how they fall. Be blessed. And let me just turn over, and here is the cover, Anchored. Be Blessed Daily, Volume 1. And I thank you so much, you guys, for listening into that. And what do y'all think about that? Like, what do you think about it? The wise are hungry for the truth, while fools feed on trash. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Exquisite. And I want you to think about that. Fools feed on trash. You know, when some people would, you know, I would want to sit and watch something motivational or inspirational, you know, to really uplift my spirit. Something to remind me that I can do it. I started watching people like Les Brown and Lisa Nichols and Bob Proctor and Wayne Dyer, and listen to different people like that. And it like really unlocked my soul. It's like I always knew I had this greatness inside, but I really wasn't around anyone that was trying to tap into that. And another thing too, I realized that I had to answer my own call. Everyone isn't called to speak. Everyone isn't a mouthpiece like me. You know what I mean? And I get that. And for so long, because I was afraid of rejection, that's why I said I was talking about projection this morning, Exquisite, because I blamed everyone else because I was playing small. I blamed everyone else because I didn't believe in myself. Like, I needed everyone else to affirm me so that I can believe that was something that I should be doing. And once I started watching those videos about 2 years ago, when my cable went off and I would go to work and I would listen to things or whatever, and then when I would come home, I would meditate on it, ponder on it, Google these people, look them up on YouTube, and I started reading the books and things like that. And I realized, oh my gosh, there's nothing holding me back. There's nothing stopping me but my mindset, but the way that I view the world around me. My default is messed up. I need to change the settings. You know, I need to get a new outline. This outline, yes, it's all about, yes, affirming ourselves. Exactly. We have to affirm ourselves and also understand that we are ultimately affirmed through Christ. Like, look, I can mess up, but that's why he died on the cross. I can fall short, but that's why he died on the cross. And even if you don't want to believe, you know, I can tell you that Jesus is real. And he helps us, and he loves us, and he cares for us. So I just want to thank you all so much for listening in today. I apologize. Before I got on the scope, I did not realize that my battery was almost dead. So I'm going to get back on a little later, but I want you to think about it. What are you eating? Are you hungry for the truth, or have you been feeding on trash? And if so, you are welcome, doll. And I thank you so much for coming on and listening and giving me the hearts. And I thank you guys for taking this time. And don't forget to share with your followers and let them know that I'm here, and let them know what's going on, and I'll do the same for you. But I want you to think about this, guys. What are you eating? Like, what are you absorbing? Are you listening to those negative voices in your head, or are you affirming yourself so that you can get along this road of life, so that you can break through those glass ceilings and soar in your greatness? So I want you to think about that and stay connected with me. Be on the lookout. I'll be back on once I get my phone charged up. We're getting ready for my baby's birthday party tomorrow, so I'm really excited about that. So I'll be back on to chat with you guys. I'm going to go do these phone calls with these ladies, and you all have a wonderful day. God bless you. I love you, and you all be blessed.